In this lesson, we'll continue on with the version of the file we programmed previously, and we'll explore machining the other side of this part. So I have a part open called Chain Guard Setup 2, and if we take a look at the top, these toolpaths are set up or organized into groups, and the first group is called Setup 1. Now if I go down to my view sheets here, and I activate view sheet 1, in this case op 1, you'll see that these are all the toolpaths that we worked on in the last set of lessons. So for example, we did facing, then we created a stock model, we pocketed out some areas and so forth. If you go through this file, you'll notice that there are some additional toolpaths here. But nonetheless, when we get down to the bottom, we have our stock model, and then we did our OptiRough like you saw before. And we finish all the way down here at the bottom with a stock model that represents the part at the end of machining this side. So at this point, we're going to switch over to Op2 view sheet, and we have a stock model that represents the beginning here, and then a dynamic mill toolpath to machine out the remainder. And as you see, this section right up here that goes all around. And we have another stock model that represents that solution. Then we have a couple other dynamic toolpaths that are used to remove the rest of the material. And of course, you could machine this many different ways. This was one method. And as you take a look here, once we finish the floor, we then do an OptiRest on the wall, and the end result is this stock model. So this is where we begin. And we're not going to worry about creating additional stock models now, but just understand that this is the material that we're left to work with. So in other words, this is what we're going to focus on removing, are these lines and cusps here to get a nice smooth finish. So the first thing I'd like to do here is explore the Waterline toolpaths. Now the Waterline toolpaths are created from a set of curves along the cut surfaces. So these curves you could consider to be profiles, and they follow the outside shape of the part. And these profiles are separated by constant Z cuts. So it's similar to a finished contour toolpath, but Waterline toolpaths use Mastercam's high-speed techniques for smoother and more efficient motion. They're typically used for finishing and semi-finishing, and the Waterline toolpaths are suited for surfaces whose angles are between 30 and 90 degrees. So as you can imagine, as we machine this area here, we have some pretty steep areas which will be very well suited for Waterline toolpaths. But as we get into the more flat areas, it may not work as well, and the reason is because we're using a constant step down. So as the surfaces become more shallow, the step downs will be more visible. With the Waterline dialog open, you'll notice that we have machining geometry on the left and avoidance geometry on the right. For machining geometry, I'm going to simply click these surfaces here. And for the avoidance geometry, I'm going to select the top surface and the bottom surface because that's what I want to avoid. And I'm also going to triple click these two bolts right here. And if you notice, that way it identifies those two bolts as avoidance geometry because I just don't want to hit those at all. That'll be bad if we hit those. Under the toolpath control, I'm going to give it a boundary. And what I'm going to do here is actually select the outside shape of this surface. I could have created geometry to do that, but I'm going to go and select the geometry by simply clicking on this edge. And you'll notice I have the red and the blue arrows. Red is where it's next. And down here you can adjust, hitting the letter J. And notice now the red area changes, and you can hit next or the letter X to move up following the red area. So I'm going to hit X, X, X. I'm going to hit J to adjust, then X, J, and around this part. Until we get to the end here. And if we zoom in, we'll notice that we did in fact find the end of where we started. Now, the reason I zoomed in here is because if there was a little gap here, then my chain would be open, or more importantly, not closed. But it looks good. I click OK. So my boundary chain is set to 1. And then under the tool section here, I can create or select my tool. I'm going to choose the 3/8 ball, and we'll call this Waterline. And under my cut parameters, I'm going to use the default step down of 0.375. So it's going to step down every 0.375 inches from the top to clean up this area. So really that's like your step over, but this is going down in the Z, in the constant Z direction. Under transition, when we go from one Z level to the next, this is how you can control how it moves off and on the part. And for the steep shallow, I'm just going to give it a maximum depth to go to, and that maximum depth is going to be this point right here. And for linking parameters, we're going to keep this set up as vertical retract for now, but under the clearance plane, I'm going to select a point up here, which is 3.2. And that's a wise move, because if you're accurately representing your setup and you don't want to pull out and wrap it over some of these areas here. So by selecting the clearance plane, let's just round this to 25, you know now that you're going to adequately clear this hardware here. So let's click OK and take a look at this toolpath. And if we select the toolpath, we'll notice that we have some rapid moves there and some retract moves. But as far as the motion goes, it looks pretty clean. So let's backplot this. And in this case, it starts from the top, and working down one section until it gets done and it goes to the next. And then the next. And then the bottom. Now you'll notice we have a lot of retracts here, and it's retracting all the way to the top. So we can make this a little more efficient if we'd like by changing the full vertical retract to minimum distance and outputting feed moves. And we can also go to some other areas, for example, like the cut parameters. And we can change our cut order to be from optimized to by depth. And what this will do is this will address the same Z height until everything at that Z height is machined before it goes to the next Z height. Again, and these are just options. Depending on your geometry and what part you're cutting, you may want to modify some of these settings to your liking. But now you can see that it's doing one level. And then I'll continuing down to the bottom. And then there's also the modification of the cutting style here. So for example, depending on the material, you might want to consider zigzag. Zigzag would not always give you the best surface finish. However, it might be a more efficient toolpath. So let's take a look at this one. And it's going back and forth here. And you'll notice that in some cases it's climb milling, in some cases it's conventional milling. So let's go back. And we'll change this to climb milling. And notice here you can also add cuts in certain areas. So this is a way to adjust your depth cuts in shallow areas. So for example, we'll leave the defaults and we'll take a look to see how this reacts. And depending on your geometry, you may see additional passes in some of the flat areas as it's attempting to add cuts in areas. In the next lesson, we'll explore the hybrid toolpath as a way to address some of these more shallow areas that might have not been machined perfectly with a Waterline toolpath.